your enemy's evil schemes. Okay, I'm also getting the corrupted FBI is being used to investigate your enemies and to lock them up. Okay, they're using the bad officials instead of the good officials because it takes a criminal to know a criminal. I just heard it takes a criminal to know a criminal. It takes a villain, an evil villain, to know an evil villain. And these evil people, these evil FBI agents are able to see their evil schemes and see through their mask, see through their plots, see through what they're trying to do. They're able to read between the lines because they could be putting themselves in their shoes. I'm getting think like a criminal.
Okay, that's my girl Nisha. She got a job with me too, but I have a feeling like either CIA, FBI, or maybe one of the more I want to say impactful forces, because she's got a strong personality. She's a warrior too. Yeah, she's got something with me, but because of her personality, I think officials want her to work with them. But I'm going to skip through to another portion of the video, and if it takes too long, I'll just put it in a second video clip. But I was showing her on Friday night, and something that she said was really funny. I'm going to try to find it. But basically, she said in her tone, the FBI knows that and they give you permission that if somebody is to come up on you, you can slap them or something like that. And I was also talking about why we judge other people and the cancel culture. I mean, all that was on that video. It was maybe about 14, 15 minutes long. Just different things in there. And I had planned to add it to the video with the pictures that I was going to show you of the new house that I'm going to buy and all that. And it's gone. I was like, okay, maybe I'll put it in Autumn's House of German Shepherds folder. So I checked Autumn's House. It wasn't in there. And I just have the Canino Rosso in Autumn's House of German Shepherds for YouTube. So they've been going in my stuff. And I've changed my password. I don't know how many times. I've changed that thing so many times. I don't even know what my password is sometimes, And I'm afraid to write it down because, I don't know. And I bought me an iPhone last month, or about 6 weeks ago, because eventually when I move, I'm going to have to turn over my other phone and my tablet, because my husband got that. He pays for the cell phone service. I pay for the the house service with the Wi-Fi and all that stuff. So we split our bills up pretty evenly. But I'm going to have to turn that phone in. So I bought me an iPhone so I can start transferring all my stuff over and stuff like that. And I got with Verizon because that's who I have all the services with. This was last month so that I could pay the bill and everything. And I changed some stuff, and now I can't get back in it to pay the bill. And I'm like, this is so crazy. The same thing with I think it's Equifax. I actually talked to the people at Equifax. This is about 2 weeks ago, and they helped me change everything in it. And I did remember that when I actually wrote it down, and I can't get in it. So somebody's screwing with my accounts and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to get ticked about this stuff like I normally do, because I'm going to leave it all in God's hands, and that's what I did for a couple other things that I normally would help him out with when he really doesn't need my help. And he came through. So I'm going to leave all this in his hands, because it's just too many of them trying to, come against me, and they ain't going to drive me crazy. And they're not going to steal my destiny. I don't care what I got to do. You're not stealing my destiny. So last night I was telling you about my deep, deep sleep. So this is a rope chain, man. This rope chain has to be, I don't know, maybe 30 years old. It's really strong. It's an Italian, I think it's 14 karat or whatever it is. But it never comes undone. And last night when I woke up from the first deep sleep between 11 and 1 o'clock, I kind of rolled over and I just felt something just like fall off my neck. It was my necklace. So I started feeling around. I was like, oh, my necklace. I said, I got to find the cross, because the cross is made of sapphire and diamonds. I used to buy myself all kind of stuff, you know. Kohl's. Kohl's is the ticket. You can get some high value jewelry at Kohl's and cute dresses and stuff. And I'll tell you about my dress in a minute. So I felt around for it, and I guess I fell back asleep. And then when I woke up again, I was like, man, I got to find that thing. So I've been looking around like all day, and there are no cracks or anything where it could fall through. So this is all solid. I have been feeling around. I cannot find that. And another thing, the second time I woke up, it's like, no, this is not for kids. It's like my bra is undone. I mean, it was completely undone. It was like almost around my neck. I said, my necklace is, my cross is gone, my bra is undone. And then I got sleepy and I fell asleep again. So I'm like, this is so crazy. So I don't know. And I was sleeping in one position, so I'm not sure how it got undone. I'm not even going to worry about it. So let me tell you about my dress. So about a month ago, I went to the Home Depot in Woodbridge, and right across from it is Kohl's. And Kohl's has some really cute clothes. They have a lot of designers there too. So I said, God showed me that I'm going to be meeting my future spouse, you know, in a little bit. I don't know when a little bit is, but I need to be prepared, because I keep getting these videos. Be prepared, be prepared. So since January, I have lost probably about between 15 and 20 pounds, especially down below and stuff. And, you know, some up top. And I wear a certain size. And that's the size dress that I picked up. And I like it. It's so pretty. And I think it was maybe the next day I said, okay, let me try these clothes on just to make sure everything fit except the top. I was like, how is that? You know, I was like, I lost 15 pounds, but the top, I couldn't even get the top closed. I was like, did I grow? I'm 62 years old and I'm still under development. So I said, next time I go out, I will go change it. So I went back to the Woodbridge Kohl's maybe a week later, and they didn't have the next size up. I said, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? So I went to the Kohl's in Kingstown, and they did have the next size up. So I grabbed the dress, and I had the other one in a bag with the receipt, and I took it to the checkout counter, and I told him, I said, hey, you know, I bought the wrong size. This is the size that I need. And the guy, he was real friendly. He said, oh, just an even exchange. Go ahead and put it in the bag. So I put it in the bag, and I left. And then I think maybe a few days ago, today is Monday, so maybe last Wednesday, I said, okay, I'm going to start ironing stuff to get ready. You know, I've got the perfect shoes. The shoes are like 15 years old, but I wear a lot of classic clothing. So the shoes are actually back in style. They're the chunky heel sling pumps everybody's wearing, except they're made from calf fur to give them that exotic animal look. So the security tag was on there. Neither one of us thought about the security tag. And then last Wednesday, when I discovered the security tag was on there, I said, I can just go get them to take it off. But then I received one of my messages here in the YouTube feed that says, the Lord doesn't want me to leave the house for 3 days. I don't know, something was going on. And I said, well, what am I going to do? You know, I said, if he shows up or whatever wants to meet, I'll just ask him to take me to Kohl's, and I'll let him know that I did not steal this dress, and I'll tell him the story. But I'm pretty excited about that dress. Okay, so let's try to find where Nisha says the little funny thing. So in the meanwhile, I will continue talking about culture, this cancel culture, and why we judge others. Let's see if it's there. This might be it.
Yeah, somebody is feeling some type of way because you're resisting them. What about that?
It might take too long. So let's talk about judging others. What does Jesus say about judging others? The words of Jesus in the Gospels of Luke, John, Matthew, Mark. Can't remember exactly which ones, but he talks about judge not, for you will be judged. For what measure you use to judge others, that will be measured against you. Those are his words. They're in red. Okay? We shouldn't be going around judging other people. And he also says, before you point out the splinter that's in your brother's eye, pull out the log from yours. So I see us today, the whole culture. I'm talking about everybody, the human culture, because that's what we are. We're humans. We are the ones that came up with this divide of colors and nationalities and this and that. And I don't know when we did it, but we did that. God didn't do that. Because he doesn't care. He looks at the heart. When he created us as a soul being with heart and the ability to feel and love. He doesn't look at color. So it doesn't matter who's with who. I'm going to say that. So if Jesus said not to judge, why do we do it? We do it, and I'm saying this about myself too, okay? So anything that I advise you on, that I talk about, or that I criticize, like I said, I've either been it or I've been on the receiving end of it. So I speak from experience. So we judge others out of mostly how we were raised or the norms that formed us. Some of those norms are based on insecurities that maybe family made us feel, inferior about, or that family hammered us about because this is the way it has been done and our family doesn't do this. I mean, it could be all types of reasons. But we shouldn't be doing it. No one here on this earth has a heaven or hell to put anybody in. Therefore, we should not be judging how they live their life. Okay? I'm talking about personal experience. I'm not talking about big government decisions and policies and laws that are put into place that affect all. That's a different topic for a different day. I'm talking about individuals living their lives, whether they're living their best life, their worst life, their medium life, whatever life. They're minding their business. You have no reason, none of us have a reason to be pointing stuff out and then canceling people and then making fun of people. Let's stop. God doesn't want us to do that. And if you keep it up, you're not going to get to go to heaven. And everybody should want to go to heaven. I want everybody to go to heaven. Even the most heinous person to go to heaven, because hell is real and it's frightening. And although it's a whole bunch of souls there, you feel alone. When I was there for those, 30 seconds to a minute or however long I was there, on the floor, thriving and bouncing off the floor, total darkness. I felt nobody with me but God, because he had to be with me to let that spell hit me, or else it would have taken me out. But he wasn't going to let that happen because of the mission he placed on my life way before the foundations of the world. You know, it's not pleasant. You got to repent, okay? Even if somebody in a church, because I notice a lot of you, just different people I watch, and I don't just watch Christian prophets and stuff like that. I watch everybody. I look at everybody. And I think around the time of, the debates and the campaign leading up to the election and stuff like that, I mean, I was watching just my regular influencers and stuff like that. The prophets didn't start popping in until after he visited me. I know, it's the craziest thing. It's like my YouTube stuff was just feed me what I needed. And like during like September, October, it was like I was drinking YouTube from a fire hose. I was watching, I follow Tennessee Brando. I like him. He was like, me and him were like on the same wavelength, even though we don't know each other, and he probably doesn't even know this, but he's like, does anybody see the new cabinet members just looking off into the distance like they're in a daze? And I'm like, yes, I see it. He said, that's not right. Something's wrong. But, he said, start reading comments that he got, and nobody else sees it. So I think the people with the gift of discernment can see that because there are demonic forces that are hovering over these people. These people don't know that. They think they're in it to do what they're supposed to do, but I can see when it switches. I can see when a demonic force takes over Pete Hegseth. You can shut me down if you want, but I'm just telling the truth. Or Gabby. Or Mark Rubio. It's a switch. You can see it. You can see the switch. You can see the change. Okay? And I know some of you have been hurt by people that are supposed to be saved and sanctified in the church, this and that. It's all a farce, okay? The only one you should care about who thinks what they think about you is the Lord. Like I said in the beginning, nobody has a heaven or hell to put anybody in, so don't even worry about them. As long as you're doing what you need for the Lord, don't worry about them. Come back to the Lord. Do your mission. He's given all of us a mission, and everybody's mission is just as important as anybody else's. So if somebody tells you their mission is more important, phooey on them. God gives missions, okay? And the missions that he gives you, because he can see the beginning from the end, and he knows you inside and out better than you know yourself, it's meant specifically for you. In other words, you can't do anybody else's mission and nobody else can do yours. Okay? So we shouldn't be coveting another's calling, another's blessings, because God has it for you. And what's for you is for you. God has it for you. Trust me, he does. Everybody. All you got to do is turn from this evilness. And this is a test. Read the book of Job, Satan or Lucifer had to ask for permission to do things to Job. And it was just a test because him and God had some type of meeting in the council, because he still attends those meetings, even though he's, out here acting like Al Capone and all that old crazy stuff. He still has meetings. He has to have permission to tempt us with this testing. And if you stay faithful, God will not let him overtake you. The plan is to overtake you to prove something, that he wants to prove to God, that we're made out of clay and we're not good. But he forgets that we were up there with them. We were all together before God decided to form all this. We were all together. So I don't know what happened, what rank structures there are, but he's mad about that. And he was mad that when all of us go back for all eternity in this beautiful, captivating essence of being, this consciousness that never dies, they'll have to bow to us. I'm not one big on, people, kissing up. I'm not a kiss up. And I think that's like not really good. You don't need to do that. Be yourself. And when you be yourself, you'll show through and people will trust you. Okay? So, everybody, you got to give your life to the Lord and it will be wonderful. You will not be bogged down. Those people that you see walking around with I don't know, collars up to their chins and, I don't know, dresses dragging the ground and all that. I mean, that's fine if that's what they want to do, but that's not what God requires of you. Okay? That is bondage. There's a lot of churches and different religions, which the Lord is not a religious God. He frowns on that promote other things. They promote these things. This is the way to be. This is, but they're not telling the truth. And I'm going to do a segment on that. I'm going to point out a lot of them. Okay, not just here in the United States. I'm talking about all over the world. Because this is leading God's people astray. And in some countries, they don't even let them pray to Jesus Christ. They can pray to whatever Baal or whatever symbolic symbol or deity they got set up in that country. But they're not allowed to pray to the Lord Jesus Christ. And if you subscribe to Christian Broadcasting Network, CBN, you'll see that. You'll see hundreds of Christians slaughtered. I don't want you to see that, like physically with your eyes, but you'll hear of it. All over the place, Christians are being slaughtered because we are at the end times, and he talks about that. And they're also showing the preparation where they're going to sacrifice the red heifers. Watch CBN News. That's part of prophecy for the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. It's happening. They shipped those red heifers undercover to Jerusalem. They came from Texas. You'll see it. They're trying to keep this stuff secretive so they can take over the world, the Antichrist. Okay? And have this one world government, one world religion, one world everything. And I ain't being part of it. And you shouldn't want to be part of it either. It's not going to be fun. Because I see this stuff lining up just like it was lining up back during the days of Hitler. Look. Open your eyes. Look. The Rose Garden is no longer a Rose Garden. It's been paved over. Okay? It's a big concrete platform with some roses along the sides. Ain't no roses in there. The parade down the street with tanks and things like that. The only time we do that in the military is when we want to show force. And I have been part of a show force parade before. Okay, when I was stationed in Panama during the 90s, there was a Cuban refugee thing going on where the Cubans were fleeing Cuba. I mean, they were jumping in the ocean. They were on rafts and stuff, just swimming or getting their way to Panama because things were so bad. And when they come over there, because I was a personal services NCO, I was in charge of the human resources for the military in that particular military police brigade. So when the police, they had to provide security, I had to deploy with them. We had to deploy right out on these old rifle ranges. Man, we lived out there for about 6 months because we had to guard the Cubans that were coming over. We had all types of stuff and operations set up for them and stuff like that. So, and I forgot where I was going with this. Sorry. I know I was talking about the Cubans fleeing and operations in Panama, deployment. Oh, one world government. Okay. But I see this stuff lining up. Okay. The Rose Garden's been paved over. Show of force. And they started getting restless because they said they wanted to go to the United States. We had caterers coming in every day, serving meals, 3 meals a day. I'm talking about catered food, like restaurant quality food and stuff like that. We weren't just giving them rice and water, whatever they're doing over there in God's. Like, get it together about that. I'm so tired of that. I'm so tired of you not feeding these people. I'm tired of seeing these kids get shot up. You know, get it together. Okay, I'm back. So the show of force that we did in Panama, we had our police vehicles out there, and they're tactical police vehicles with tracks and different things like that. And then we had, it was a task force we were in. So we had supplements coming from Fort Bragg, 82nd Airborne Division. We were part of, no, I was in the 101st later. 101st came over. 3rd Infantry. I mean, these people were coming from all over the United States, all part of, you know, this thing to protect. And we rolled out a show of force around the camp because we were in camps, tent camps. There were no buildings to put them in. We slept in tents too. So we had a show of force of 5,000 rolling around the camp. That's when you do that, a show of force, takeover. Okay, so we did a parade. When it was a couple months ago, as a show of force. Was it Memorial Day? I don't know when it was. And now we're setting up prisons. Alligator, Alcatraz. We're taking over DC. National Guard's in. And we've got more sites set up. And this goes from, now I'm just thinking back because I follow a lot of stuff. Maybe about 7, 8 years ago, they were closing a lot of the big stores and made them online. Big stores like Walmart, several Walmarts closed down, and JCPenney's and things like that. And I was following this one guy, and I got to find him. Like I said, it's been about 6, 7 years ago. He had a story. He said, these people are planning to use these stores that they have closed down, and he showed proof, as containment centers for the people, us, when they said we get unruly. And I see that coming. Now, right now, you know, ICE is, you know, grabbing everybody and shipping them out and stuff like that. And our dear president, I heard him say it. I'll find this clip and I'll clip it if they don't delete it. He said, I'm coming for the homegrown next. So I don't know what he means by that. You know, this DC takeover could be the gang members and stuff they got going on the streets and stuff like that. You guys, you gang members and stuff, get your lives together unless you want to be shipped out to somebody's country and you have no idea where you are. Get yourselves together. Everybody get yourselves together. Now, we need to pray about this because nobody should be shipped out of anybody's country because they're all God's country. Okay? All of them belong to him. Okay, I guess I'm done. I am going to find the clip where Nisha says, you know, where she actually says, you know, if somebody comes up here, you know, FBI going to give me permission to slap them. I'll find that clip and I'll put it out there by itself, or I'll include it in the pictures and the little videos I took of the new home that I want to buy. And I've contacted my real estate agent so that I could rent a place. I need to get out of here. I'm going to try to get out of here by the end of the month to rent a place until, you know, my settlement comes through. Because like I said, I have a feeling it's a whole lot of money. It's an inheritance. Oh my God. Inherence. I don't know. I can't think of the word right now, but you know what I'm trying to say, that your family leaves you. It's tribal inheritance. That's the word. Okay, guys, I love you. I'm going to hit send on this. I don't know if I promised you some pictures, but they'll be in a big one that says pictures. All right, bye.